Hello, and welcome to Dog Hair, the VR showing. This experience can be properly enjoyed by using headphones and a VR headset. In this project, my aim was to look at, could virtual reality enable people to express their traumas? The story you're about to hear was written by a victim of domestic abuse. This is their story.
It was a day like any other, really. Sounds cliche, but that's what her life was like. Wake up, make up, coffee, dress, and leave through the door. The same old, but the good type of same old. The sun shone brightly, causing the woman to squint uncomfortably as she made her usual journey to work. Walking to work was never the most exciting thing for her. Unwilling to listen to the early morning noises of cars and shouts, she grabbed her headphones and played some sort of music that made her feel as if she was in a music video. This form of escapism granted her some comfort. However, today would become unlike most of her others. A bark pierced her ears, somehow drowning her music. Startled, she took off her headphones and looked to where the barking was coming from. Lo and behold, it was a frail puppy. Its eyes were a deep brown and could tell 1,000 stories of its treacherous life. Even though its fur was matted and its legs were comparable to the twigs that fell from the surrounding trees, there was something about this mutt that charmed the woman. Unsure what to do, she knelt and patted its head. Needing to rush to work, she promised the mutt that she'd be back after work. It gave the woman a sort of look that could melt any woman's heart. It cocked its head as if to almost say, yes, you will come back for me. The workday was uneventful, but she found herself daydreaming over her shift. This goddamn dog took over her psyche and drowned any other thought she could have had if it weren't for that dog. The day went by slowly and she found herself much more drained than usual. Hours passed and the sun had long gone. The music in her ears couldn't even drown out the thought of the mutt. She arrived at the door and nearly tripped over something. She looked down and saw the puppy. It looked slightly different, stronger, and even slightly bigger. It was the same dog though, for sure, its eyes still and piercing as ever. Wanting to be a good person, she knelt, picking it up and heading back out to take the dog to the vet's. Another wave of weakness hit her, but she dismissed it, a slight disappointment of not being able to relax after work. Although her arms felt tired. Did the dog get heavier, or do I need to start working out? She chuckled to herself. The dog didn't seem to appreciate such small movements caused by her laughter, and the woman soon felt its claws sink into her arm. From then on, she didn't dare to chuckle in case it would annoy the poor puppy. No blood was drawn, but she didn't appreciate it. It's probably had a hard life, so I shan't take any notice of it, she thought whilst arriving at the vet's door. A few hours at the vet's later, and a few £1,000 invested in the mutt, she could finally rest at home. After feeding the thing, it was finally time for the woman to rest. She walked to the bathroom and looked up at the mirror. She began to become puzzled at what exactly was looking back at her. She was aware at how draining her day was, but her reflection did not usually look back at her with such emptiness. Her eyes were sunken in, her hair thinner and duller. Maybe I went too heavy on the contour. She quickly dismissed that idea though, as even with everything removed, her face was just as haunting. She was now slightly worried, but was far too tired to obsess over her appearance. She trudged to her bed and lay down. Her eyes glued themselves shut as she fell into a much-needed slumber. She was soon awoken, though, feeling something heavy on her chest. It was the dog. She attempted to push it off her chest, but it gave her those puppy eyes. It wouldn't budge, and when she did gather the strength to push it off, it growled and laid back on her chest. She was far too tired to fight, so she gave up and slept, breathing shallow breaths. Every day since meeting that dog was odd, though it was now her new normal. Wake up, feed the dog, make up, coffee, dress, and leave through the door. Come back, feed the dog, and fall into an uncomfortable sleep. This was the new same old, same old. Each day the dog grew stronger. Every day the woman grew weaker. In fact, the dog grew too big and too strong. Once the woman gave it the wrong food. It seemed to become fussier as the days went on, and at this point the dog was very particular about its food. It was angry and attacked the woman, leaving her with a few nasty scratches. She wanted to be angry, but her sympathy for the mutt took over any negative feelings. More days went by, and more scratches appeared on her body. Those soon turned into bite marks and bruises. Blood had been drawn a few times too. The woman now started to become fed up. Her sympathy for the thing waned. She looked in the mirror again and now truly did not recognize the woman looking back at her. Her eyes were even more gaunt, her hair thinner, and her frame nearly emaciated. The dog walked in on her, looking stronger as ever. It barked manically, almost as if it were insulting her. Soon after, though, it muzzled up against her whilst looking at the woman with its puppy eyes. Instead of her heart melting, it was being hardened. She looked back at the dog with hate in her eyes and screamed at it. The dog was taken aback and its puppy eyes seemed to intensify. She felt herself weaken again, and she swore the dog became stronger. However, the woman was pushed way past her limit. In a flash of anger, she finally gave the dog what it deserved. It winced in pain and became weaker. It seemed to have shrunk back into that mangy mutt it once was when the two first met each other. It pathetically whined one last time before disappearing. Well, most of it. A pile of dog hair sat in the middle of the bathroom. The woman collapsed to her knees and hot tears fell out of her eyes onto a variety of cuts. It burned, but the tears would not stop. She did not know what exactly happened, but the dog was now gone. She had cleaned the dog hair away, and her head was clearer now. The days went by, and the woman soon became recognizable to herself. She grew stronger every day. The days that followed were like any other, really. Sounds cliché, but that's what her life was like now. Wake up, make up, coffee, dress, and leave through the door. Although she did find the odd dog hair around the house and on her clothes. These dog hairs were annoying, and they brought back all the painful memories. Some days were more dog hair filled than others. The dog had long gone, but its hairs created little daily inconveniences for the woman. All she could do was to brush them off and carry on with her day, as she did before she met that goddamned mutt.